episode 84, season 4 for us, which is crazy to think about. It doesn't feel like it's been that long when you consider, the first one was the COVID season 2020, and then the second was the Cinderella story. It feels like it's all kind of gone by so quick, and now, I think this season 4 for this team is going to be, I'm not sure, it almost feels like a rebuild, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like our lineup, like you were saying earlier, our podcast kind of is going to be a little bit of a duct tape thing right now. Kind of getting back into it too. It's good to be talking on the mic again, but even just getting back into it is going to take a little bit, maybe an episode or two, to fully get back into that groove that we were in. But yeah, it's exciting to come back and make content again, talk about this team that we love, even though it seems like it may be one of those years where we're reminded that we're in the MLS.
Yeah.
And, nothing, especially a lineup and a consistent 22 is guaranteed, or 18.
Well, yeah, I was thinking before when we were planning to record, and I knew that it was time to record when over this last week we've started text, obviously always talking, but starting to talk more about NYCFC again, and I'm sure everybody has seen across all the podcasts, and especially ours, it's we need an off season, not the same way, let me not say that, not the same way that the players need an off season, but there is an off season needed at some point, and we typically use this time to take it. But yeah, I was thinking about how we've been around longer than some players, potentially a lot of players that could be big if we do end up bringing in more guys before the season kicks off, which we have to at this point, because I'm not sure if we can field an 18 that all deserve to be on an MLS field at this point, but we will have been around longer than probably people that are going to be big names for us this year.
Right. Yeah. You said it best when you said that we kind of needed an off season, because there was just such a high going into the end of last season, coming off of the MLS Cup win, going for another one, and kind of having these impossible odds happen again. It was we were riding the roller coaster going up high, and it's just that last game was such a downer that it was just good to mentally reset. Not only mentally reset, but kind of deal with all the things that we have going on in real life. So it's good to get back and talking. But yeah, in terms of the 18, you're right. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks going into it. And the biggest thing is all of the departures. Our departures really, if you look at it in 10 years, could be NYCFC's Hall of Fame first 7.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to think about, but you got guys like Sean is all but gone to Toronto. Hebert is officially gone to Seattle. Tinnerholm's gone back home. No pun intended, or I didn't mean to rhyme, but I did. Santi's officially gone. He's gone back, or he's not back, but he's gone to Montevideo.
And then potentially getting shopped around to Bahia too. So he's just going through that.
Well, I think he's been announced.
Oh yeah, to Bahia.
To Montevideo.
Montevideo, yeah. Well, I know he's training with them, but he's going through that City Football Group shuffle right now.
And then Maxi went to Racing, so it's and Collins is a question mark at this point.
We're talking about starters in the NYCFC all-time 11 pretty much across the board, with absent Hebert probably and Acevedo as well, probably people that are the starter as the best player that we've had in that position over the course of history with this club.
Well, Santi, really when you lose him, it's more the potential that he had and the glimpses that you saw, specifically towards the end of last season, and the way he showed up in the playoffs. The flashes that he showed were just so insane.
Yeah,
losing that possibility of what he could be is really, really tough. But I don't know if he would make an all-time 11.
I'm just saying, I'm thinking that playoff Santi should be celebrated in New York the way that Hoodie Mello is celebrated.
Yeah.
Because, the performances, even you can not argue Hebert for an all-time list, but Hebert's performances in the playoffs, 2 goals in 2 games, you know, both of which we've talked about previously, you know, how they may have been easier than, you know, the typical goal you have to score. But, I mean, if you're scoring in the playoffs, you're the guy up top at the 9, and you're getting the ball in the net. That's literally the only reason you're on the field, and you're doing what you need to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, Santi, I mean, playoff Santi, like you said, it's more so it hurts to lose Santi because of the potential of what, you know, he could have done even with one more season with us. I mean, he could become...
half a season.
Yeah, he could literally become like the next Maxi for us, but 8 years younger, and then go on and sell for, you know, Tati-type money potentially if it pans out.
Right. If Tati's sale even pans out.
Yeah.
Which would... I mean, it would be wild if somewhere halfway through this season we get a Tati dropped into our team.
And not only Tati, but Sands, who I think people online, I feel like, have a little bit of hope that that's like a real possibility. I know that the Rangers have kind of been going through the ringer on their own, and they dumped a coach, and then they picked up a new manager, and he's talked like specifically about Sands and how he knows that center back is like not his position, but that there's no way to really find room for him in their midfield, especially if it's in a defensive position. So I don't know. I mean, at some point, you know, playing is better than not playing, even if it's taking a step back to NYCFC. And obviously he's an immediate starter. But then I don't know. I mean, we have to see what the Keaton Alfredo midfield looks like this year.
Yeah, my only concern with that would be balance. I don't know how balanced an Alfredo Keaton midfield would look, especially if we have, you know, not our top defender Collins back there to, you know, play 9-1-1 if things go south. So I don't know. It's tough to look at. I mean, we've had some people come in that we'll talk about in a minute, but I don't know that, you know, there's huge question marks on those people because they're not proven, not a single one of them. And the only one who we have a decent idea of, the jury seems to be against. On
Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, out of the arrivals, aside from Tony Alfaro, however you want to say his name, with him, I guess the story that I've at least seen online is he's coming from what was obviously, I think, the worst defensive team in the MLS last season, DC United. He didn't play much for them, but even when he did, you know, you're still getting plugged into the worst team in the MLS. So I'm not sure that there's much to write home about with him. I think he is like a Vuk replacement because I believe Vuk left as well, right? Or is potentially
we didn't. I don't think we re-signed him.
Yeah, so
that could be completely wrong, but I don't believe we re-signed him.
Yeah, so to me, Tony pretty much just functions as a depth piece, and hey, if he comes in and he competes, that's all we can ask of him to do. But with our other 2 signings, we have, you know, Mitja, Alenic, Slovenian right back, and then we have Gabe Segal, or Segal, however you want to call it.
I hope it's not Segal.
Segal, yeah. United States, or U.S. player.
The United States of America.
Yeah.
That sounded like cop talk.
See, this is what happens when we make notes. It throws us off our own game.
Because I typically, when we're in the real setting, the studio, like I'll have the notes in front of me and I don't look at them once.
Yeah. Well, we're usually like off the cuff. We don't do a ton of planning. If you saw us like 5 minutes before, we were trying to get that flag up there.
That flag was giving us
duct taped to a broom, trying to prop it up against the wall, and you know, settled for clothespins. But don't know how we got there talking about Gabe.
Well, it's good to know that season 4 did not eliminate the waffling and the random switches of topic. But yeah, with Tony, I just feel like we've been through this before. I feel like we had a center back that we signed from DC United before, and he turned out to be a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. And so that's just that's my sort of PTSD going through this. And also the fact that we don't have a true number 9. I know that Talas wants to be a number 9. He's shown that he can play number 9, at least in the sense that he can score goals from there. I just don't know. I don't personally think that he's going to be played like a true 9 all season. I think he'd be a false 9.
Well, I think the hope amongst the community is that like we're going to be bringing in a DP9 or a DP cam. One of the two things have to happen. I don't think.
I feel like that's copium, but yeah, personally.
But I can't imagine that Gabe is the 9 solution.
No, I think that they're fully on the Tales train. I feel like they think that they have him in the building, and he can operate as a false 9, who can kind of get the ball and distribute it, but also make those runs forward. Get the ball out to Thiago, who's going to obviously be trying to take advantage of his pace on the wings, and kind of have this, it's almost like, honestly, the way that I play FIFA, where I have somebody who's kind of just up there to receive the ball and play it to the wingers.
Mm-hmm.
And GP and Thiago are just completely two different players, so you can give it to GP and he can kind of switch with Tales and become that winger, and GP becomes that number 9, and then you just have Thiago making runs constantly. I think it would work. The problem is the imbalance in the midfield makes it so that you can't really trust those long balls to Thiago. Mm-hmm. That would be needed to take advantage of Thiago.
Well, I think we're going to need, if we're looking to really make a similar splash to what we've done in past seasons, we're going to need a few standout season-long performances from a few key players. And if we are not making any moves in terms of a number 9 and Tales is just getting moved there, then we are in a position where we're forced to start either Thiago or Matti on the wing. I think everybody would make the assumption that Thiago would be the guy, at least for the beginning of the season, to see if it's working out.
Right, and it's his spot to lose.
Yeah, and if we're to perform, the way that I think a lot of us expect NYCFC to perform, and as we have in the past, we're going to need a big season from Thiago, because I think we've seen a lot of question marks with him in the past. He's sort of been just a sub player, but since the start of his NYCFC career, when he had such an explosive beginning, I think we've all expected a lot more from him. So hopefully there'll be growth there, and then I think the other key person is going to be Keaton, more so maybe than anybody else in the 11. More than I think Tales proving that he can do the 9, because like you alluded to, if the delivery is there, he kind of has to work on finishing, but I think that comes with maturing. I think maybe we forget that Tales is 19 years old. So the finishing will come, but I think Keaton is now, if we don't make a cam DP move or we don't make a big money move in the midfield, he's like our new Maxi. He is going to have to play that role.
Right. And he's going to have to play a bigger role, because he's got to occupy the 9 but play a 10. Mm-hmm. and kind of be both. That's the only way that I can see it working with his current skill set. I mean, I could be wrong, but also you're going to have to probably not see O'Toole as left wing back anymore, in my opinion. If you're playing in a system where Thiago's going to be making runs up that left side, you can't commit 2 guys if your defense isn't as strong anymore. Mm-hmm. He may do it and he may trust it for a while, but we may see like a 2-3 game really bad goal conceding record.
Yeah, well, I think the thought behind Keaton, and I feel like we probably feel the same, is a lot of his like underlying stats and like the analytics that you'll see online say that he is like there's no reason he shouldn't be like starting on the national team or fighting for like a spot. Right. But I think in practice, like when you are watching it live and stuff, it typically doesn't feel like that's happening, so it's a really weird disconnect. But I think we've always been pretty pro Keaton.
Definitely.
But a big part of it, not only for the sake of the team, but like for the sake of himself, like staying healthy is going to be a massive thing, and it sucks because it's not something he can help.
Right. That was going to say that is it almost sucks to bring up the fact that he hasn't been healthy, because it's not his fault.
Yeah.
It's kind of whatever issue he's had with whatever, it's thick blood clots and things like that.
Did you see the training photo today?
With that scar on his leg?
Nasty scar.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, so we upgraded the setup a little bit. We had to give you guys something, since we're running these desktop streams, where we could show you what we're looking at.
Your legs.
But this scar on Keaton's leg is so gnarly. and I can't even zoom in on it, but like, and I believe since he had it, this isn't the same leg that he had it on as the first time, right? Or if it is, I don't know.
I think
that's just a compound of scar, or if he has one on each leg. But like,
right.
that is gnarly, and I can't imagine, what that might do, like confidence wise, like having a, like there's a constant reminder of like what he's probably been through,
right?
Twice now, and then having to see it too. It's just, I think from him, he is gonna be like the key, obviously the key to our midfield. I'm not at all concerned about Morales and what he's able to bring, Alfredo, what he's able to bring to us.
Yeah, I think first while we were looking at the Twitter, I did want to say today that the admin definitely needs some glasses. I don't know how you didn't know that was Jason next to him.
Do you think it is?
Yeah, 100%, without a doubt.
I don't know. To me,
there's no argument that it's not Jason.
I did see GP in that.
That's
bro.
Jason's head.
Is that though? Like, you have to look at how long the hair is, dude.
He's a hairy dude.
All right.
Pause.
But is that like, I feel like it's like the slick back, like coming back like over the back of his head, like when Tati would have long hair like that.
He has it like towards tapered off in the back like an arrow.
It is
what it is.
It
needs glasses.
See, I did really try to go and like really hit the investigative, and I was like, all right, orange cleats. I ran back through, and I was trying to look at the people that walked in with orange cleats. And to be fair to your point, Jason did have a little bit of orange on it, so you could be right, but I'm just not sure. To me, it did look a little bit like GP. I thought it was Tony for a minute, just because, yeah. Him and Jason have a similar build.
Okay.
I mean,
they don't have the same hair.
I guess not. I mean,
but also I'm remembering GP with the blonde hair, and I don't think he has it anymore.
Nah, that typically only comes around October,
when it
November.
Matters. When it matters and it puts stress on us.
When the team's having a away stretch at the end of the season, and then they find like bleach at CVS or something.
Yeah.
And then
you find that 1% Skip Bayless in you, and you're like, why? Why is this happening?
But yeah,
that's crazy. But yeah, I have no idea where we were in this whole thing.
Aside from Keaton, I guess being the key is what we were thinking. Really to our midfield, obviously. The story for me of the arrivals that have sort of worried me, Tony aside, because I don't imagine him being a big player in the team, and prove me wrong, please. But with Alenic and Segal, I hope that both of them are going to get a lot of minutes. I could see Alenic potentially being a starter. I think it's his job to win, because I don't think we're married to Tavon at right back. And we can show what we believe to be probably our best lineup in a little bit. But it's just so much youth at this point.
Yeah.
With Gabe at 21 and Alenic at 18, we let Collins, a vet in terms of age and time in the MLS go. We let Maxi, a vet in terms of age and time in the MLS go. And Sean, same deal. Age and time in MLS go. And I'm not sure who at this point is like the old guy that, is Hebert too. Hebert was for everything he is as a player. Locker room, like vibes, 100% through the roof. He's the guy. Yeah. And we let all these players walk, and I'm not sure now who is going to function as that.
Alfredo is he's good.
Older.
He's good at keeping others in check, but he also needs that guy to keep him in check.
yeah.
So you wonder who's going to be the guy that keeps him in check. I mean, maybe if it truly is just Keaton and Keaton can get in Alfredo's ear and be able to talk him down, because they've got that relationship now. Or hopefully by the start of the season, or maybe towards the first third.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Alfredo's clearly the guy. Alfredo and Chanel are going to be the leaders. But yeah, Keaton needs to get some bark in him too.
And that makes me think of one question we have now that we know Sean is gone. And I just thought of this. That creates a captain vacancy.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm not sure that Chanel plays enough time, depending on what ends up happening with the lineup. I know that Cushing typically likes to go with that 5-2-3, or you could call it a 3-4-3, whatever it is. But if Chanot is not going to be slated to start and play a ton of minutes for the entire season, I don't think you can responsibly give him the armband, or you have to pick like a second guy that is regularly going to function as the captain. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are of the
Clearly
guys that we have.
Alfredo.
Yeah, that's me
Without
too.
a doubt. And it's funny because we kind of thought it should be him
When it was
up the last time.
Yep.
And he was new.
Mm-hmm. It was his first. It would have been his first season.
Right. And I do genuinely believe game one we're seeing Alfredo starting and with the armband.
Damn.
And I think at that point we'll probably, I mean, it's just a prediction of mine. I think that we'll probably see Chanot come on for the second half, and he'll get the armband for the second half.
Okay. So if Chanot is on the field, he is the captain, but otherwise it should be Alfredo, you think?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, just seniority, and what Chanot has given to the club, it would be very hard on him not to give it to him.
Yeah.
You know, he's earned it. He's brought us to a championship. He was every bit of that championship that Collins was, that Castellanos was, and Maxi and everybody else. So, you know, it would be very, very hard on him not to give him the armband.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see him as a 100% every game starter, because he wasn't last year, and he's older now than he is obviously last year, because that's how time works.
Yeah, and I think with bringing in Olenich, and we can get into, you know, what our best lineup is, and, you know, this is pretty much it here, and, you know, we say all that about Chanot, and, you know, he does end up in that middle center back spot. I'm not sure who else, if Cushing is running his 3-4-3 or, you know, 5-2-3, whatever you want to call it, how you fit. I don't know how you fit a third center back in without it being Chanot. But I think this is it. I mean, would there be any changes that you would make to this? Aside from arrivals, obviously, which...
O'Toole, to me, doesn't start if our defense looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that just because it puts too much pressure on that back line. And realistically, if you have Andrade, who is... I mean, last season he did show that he can come back, but he really doesn't. I don't think he prefers to.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was kind of doing it because he was fighting for a spot. I would prefer Malt there, just unless you throw a Matty up there on the left wing instead, then you can start O'Toole, because you know Matty's going to get back.
Yeah. Well, I think we've had conversations that when it comes to left back, and it's funny because it relates so much to when we had Goody and Malde, that like Goody was the attacking left back that we had, and Malde functioned as the defensive one, and it was, you know, you would plug people in depending on the situation, but then that often left a big gap, either attacking or defending, with who you had in. And I think we're now in the same situation where O'Toole getting forward, I think we had a stretch of a month or so, you know, when we played in the what was it, against the Liga MX team, the two champions play, Campiones Cup, and then against the Red Bulls when he played, you know, 100 minutes on a Tuesday, and then he played 100 minutes on a Saturday or a Sunday, back to back, and was a stud in both games. And really, I think where his game is strong, at least currently, and, you know, he can definitely develop over time, but is attacking, and Malde is for sure that defensive guy when we need him.
Definitely. I just see, you know, I could definitely see a situation where we may have to rock a 4-back. I just don't know who else we plug in the midfield.
Yeah. Well, so if we look at, I think we have some subs here, and it makes it look funny, but, you know, these are our other players. We have Hack just signed to a deal.
So, I mean, you can almost see
Collins gone.
Like a 4-3-3 type of scenario where you don't put so much pressure on that back line, and you kind of don't play so offensive, and you play Hack in the midfield.
Yeah.
Or realistically, what I honestly see is you take that new right back out, you plug Gray there, and you swing Chanel out to that right center back, and right in the middle you have Hack kind of operating as a CDM that's dropping back to be a center back, but really being that guy, that Collins role that takes the ball, brings it up, can play multiple positions, and is really the guy that's driving the ball. That I could honestly see that happening.
And I think that is, kind of the type of player that Hack. I think that's the kind of player that Hack likes to be. I mean, we had a pretty good relationship with being able to see Hack play in person. Being from Connecticut,
Right.
he came and he did that loan stint at Hartford Athletic twice, actually. And we did get to go down to the stadium not far from us and watch him live. And he is, when he gets the ball, and I know this is like a big pet peeve of yours, is whenever a player receives the ball, like looking forward or backwards, like if they're always receiving the ball and then they're looking backwards, that typically bothers you. And Hack is
very much bothers
yeah, like every time we watch a game and like if a goal is needed, if it's 0-0 or we're
Even
down.
If it's not, if the game just started and the ball goes
Yeah.
backwards, it is a pet peeve.
It's like, why is he looking backwards every single time? But Hack is a guy that receives that ball, and I think he does a great job of scanning and always looking for the forward pass before he plays it back. And that's something that obviously we need with the people that we've lost.
Right. Yeah.
But it has to be mentioned, there's a lot of Hack haters out there. A lot of them.
Oh, for sure.
And
There's
they were loud
Hack
today.
haters than there are truthers.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. I mean, I thought he played well when he needed to in the playoffs. He had a couple of questionable plays, but he's a kid being thrown into a position that he's obviously very much not used to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt 100% of the time. And if I'm starting a lineup week 1, I'm definitely going Gray out at right wing back and Hack in the middle, like I said. I don't think there's any other way to play it.
The 4-3-3.
No. With this exact formation, everybody except I plug Gray with the right wing back.
And then, Hack right here.
Hack kind of in the center back role, playing the ball forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's another one where when we talk about players that need to have a big season, it's going to be Thiago, it's going to be Keaton, and then, we know that Cushing loves Hack. We know that.
Yeah, I would imagine if Chanot has only 45 minutes in him, which I believe is the truth, maybe 60 minutes.
I mean, that's what he had.
You want it on the tail end, not in the beginning.
Yeah.
You want Hack to kind of be in there, but put the ball forward, get us a lead, and you bring Chanot in to close it out.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that's the best way to do it. But I'm just an American dude.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any players in mind in the lineup that you don't have any worries about? GP, I guess Thiago Martins would be another one for me, and Alfredo.
Thiago Martins. I wouldn't say I have no worries.
Okay.
And I love the dude. I think he's proven himself to be a great defender, way better than we thought he was in the first couple of weeks.
Nobody thought he was.
But I do think he has
now.
errors in him that just occur.
Yeah.
And I think Thiago is a huge question mark because he has to evolve. He can't just be that one-dimensional player that he's been for so long. He really does have to evolve, and this is the year that he has to prove it, and quickly, because there's people behind him wanting that position.
Yeah. And then I guess we know that Keaton will have a good baseline, but the question mark is whether he will take a massive step.
Right, and that's consistency and being on the lucky side of his body cooperating with him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we say it all the time, he's as big as a tree. He needs to win those headers in midfield way more. And I could be a donkey not looking at the stats, and he's like 99 for 102, but it just seems like when the ball goes to his head, he doesn't win it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we said. It's like all his underlying analytics make him look like the best, one of the best midfielders that the U.S. has, but it often doesn't feel like that when you watch live, and I'm not sure what causes that, but it's something that's real.
Yeah, I'm really honestly out of everybody in this team, I'm most excited for Tales and Barraza. Those are the two most exciting pieces of this team. And I don't think many people are excited about Barraza, but I'm genuinely, like, I'm gassed for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gassed that he's got to this point where he is, unless he loses the job in preseason, he is the locked-on starter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're a better team when he's playing the ball out of the back. We're just a better team, I think, with Barraza.
Yeah.
And that's no hate to Sean. I think Sean did a job, and he was our captain, and he was great for the team for so long. And probably, I don't know if he makes it, but he's in the list of Hall of Famers for us.
I think the two...
But Barraza just gives us something different.
Yeah, I think... And maybe we could deep dive on Sean a little bit, and we talked about him a little bit before we recorded the episode. Because we saw a tweet come out from, somebody that is considered pretty knowledgeable or reputable credible in the Toronto community, saying that Sean's basically done. So at this point, we're considering that to be the truth, so that we're not behind the news. But I think that those two penalty saves to ultimately win us an MLL Cup or an MLS Cup, and then the penalty save against New England as well.
Right.
I don't know.
Hall of Fame moments.
Yeah, I mean, we simply don't have a cup without Sean. If Sean's not on the field, we don't have a cup for sure. And there's every player on the field, the same thing goes for them. But I think he made a pretty big splash, and obviously got the MLS Cup MVP too. I mean, as a goalie,
right?
That's
insane.
Has that ever happened before? I'm not sure.
Probably.
But definitely our best keeper to date, and it does suck to see him go. But I think you're right that we've always been pretty so-so on Sean. We know that he was sort of functioned definitely early season, like April Sean and March April May Sean was essentially like, hey, if you need a highlight reel,
if you
play me.
If you need an argument in your contract negotiations, and you play Sean this week, you know that you got the bargain.
The number's going up for you.
Yeah.
Because he would, a lot of stunners would get scored on him, and unfortunately, there's not much that most goalkeepers can do if a Pozzuelo tucks it off the crossbar, upper 90. But I think you're right that Barraza, when it comes to distribution, we've been going back and forth with people on Twitter. This whole time that we've been absent on the podcast, that's obviously the place to be if you're trying to hear from us. But I think we're a better team distribution-wise when Barraza's on the field. And I like the energy that he brings. I think back to the Open Cup games that he started. He also saved a penalty in one of the Open Cup games. He had a rough go against Red Bulls when we got knocked out. But that is a game, with too much emotions involved for a guy that's playing, let's call it his fourth start for the team, trying to prove himself. And I think a lot of us didn't even expect Barraza to start in that game, because we thought at that point Ronnie should have bailed on, having your B-side play for a whole tournament as if we're in Europe or something. When you get to the rivals in the quarterfinals of the Open Cup, hey, let's plug in the big dogs to finish the job. Like, there's a trophy on the line. And that was probably one of the few oversights that we probably think Ronnie had. Right. But Barraza, like you said, I'm excited to see him go.
Super excited.
If he wins, like if this is a win for him and like he wins this job, that's amazing. I think it'll be a great story for him and for us.
And it's one of the few guys. I mean, I know O'Toole's kind of made his way into this team, but it's very, very hard for somebody that gets drafted in the super draft to make our team. Mm-hmm. It's historically been that way, and so to have two guys in there, have a couple of academy guys in there, it's just an amazing look for us. It's an amazing look for the team, for the league, and for our ownership, and kind of this post-Reyna supercharger we've been on.
Post-Reyna.
Yeah, I had to slip that in there.
Yeah. Well, we can't,
we can't elaborate too much.
There's not enough time in the world to talk about, Claudio,
everything that's happened.
Yeah, Claudio Reyna and the World Cup. I mean, we had plans to talk about it, and then it didn't, the way that everything went with the men's national team and stuff, it didn't feel like there was enough to write home about. And I don't think we're definitely passionate about the men's national team. especially in big tournaments and stuff. But it doesn't quite feel the same, at least for me, when
Yeah.
it comes to how I feel about NYCFC. So I didn't think we had much to offer.
Right. And for me, when it comes to the national team, it seems like something I yell about in a group chat, and that's really where it should stay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I have a lot of energy for it. Obviously, it's national pride. But at the same time, I watch Mexico play, and I want them to win too. And a lot of U.S. men's national team fans would tell me that I'm wrong for that. So, you know, I've got a lot of love for them. I want them to do very, very well in this World Cup.
Well, when you have some Mexican in you. I don't know if that's wrong to say or
That's still it.
I don't know if that's the appropriate way to say that.
It sounds,
but you do.
It sounds like a pause, but
I wasn't even thinking of it. I just meant like
just thought you were saying that under the chair maybe there may be.
Nah, but you have Mexican heritage is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
To some degree,
it's
percentage.
It's in my blood.
We're not sure.
The percentage is out.
But he has the red Canelo beard, so we give him a pass. But I think that's one of the cool things, and this is the last thing I'll say about Tony Alfaro, is that he's Mexican, and I think we haven't had representation for like the Mexican national team or all of like the people that are Mexican national team fans and NYCFC fans. Not that I think Tony's going to be a big part of it, but it's cool to see a guy. You know, think of all the Peruvian fans that we gained from Collins, and he's obviously a superstar.
Well, we've had a big Mexican following.
Yeah, so now we have a guy.
So which I'm not sure. What type of Hispanic Peraza is. Mm-hmm. I believe I knew it, but
I'm not sure.
But it's nice to have representation, like you said, from all types of areas.
Well, it brings new fans in, I think. Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool to do that. Like I said with Collins, we probably have an army of Peruvian NYCFC fans that were, got brought in only because of him. And obviously with Brazilian, the same thing happened because we went full
NYCFC Brazil.
Yeah, like we went full like Brazilian mafia, and for that, some people will just come for those players, but there's a big or a percentage of them that are gonna stick around, and this is how you build a fan base, and especially when the players are good, it helps. So,
it's funny too. We just kind of got off on a tangent there, but like you were saying, there's a million things to talk about that have happened. New stadium announcement.
Imagine
groundbreaking.
40 minutes in, haven't touched on the stadium.
Groundbreaking on that. Things happening in terms of us finally getting a home. And even with all that, you got the Gio Reyna,
yep,
Berhalter, two family mafia heads.
It could be a 30 for 30 if they wanted.
You got the national team, going out. Could have done better. You got the World Cup coming up in our home nation, in combination with Mexico and Canada. All of these things, and we're just happy to get back on the mic, get any type of content out there, because at the end of the day, this is what we love doing. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to hop on the mic and just kind of talk again.
Yeah.
And so I feel like even right now we're kind of back in the groove of being able to get our ideas out there, being able to say what's on our mind. And, it's like a drug.
Yeah, well, I think, as we get closer to the season, obviously we talked a lot last season about how we do our typical off-season leading up to the season. We try to bring guests on regularly to talk to people. So not sure of what the cadence is going to look like yet, but, we always tell you guys about the short list we have of past guests and new guests that we've never had. And I think the list always grows the more that we would bring a regular dude on that tweeted at us, that was an NYCFC fan.
That's the biggest part about following us on Twitter is we really get very personal and close with people on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I think the group chat is the coolest thing that has ever happened, aside from like winning the cup maybe. The coolest thing that we've ever been involved with NYCFC is that group chat. Like,
the infamous,
it's so cool.
Infamous night when
the Hey
Bear popped in there and was that was crazy.
That was when Philly lost 2 world championships in one night.
He was
and Hey Bear, Hey Bear
bugging in there.
Hey Bear had to drop in the chat and speak his mind on the Philly boys. And
if he was, it was like Heineken sponsored him for the night, but not with the NAs.
yeah. No, he was not drinking NAs.
No NAs.
With what he was sending in the chat.
But yeah, it's great to get back, and we're finally gonna get situated our new studio. I know we talked a lot about it at the end of last season, but life happens.
Yeah.
We're kind of managing this new life and lifestyle, and I think we've got a pretty good grasp on it now, and just going forward, getting the studio done, getting content back out, back to our normal schedule, and just looking forward to getting content out to you guys. So that's really what makes us happy. So
yeah, I think maybe we could like briefly touch on the stadium, but I feel like we have a different relationship with the stadium and stadium news being so far from New York, being a Connecticut podcast and stuff. And I think, for our sake, I kind of enjoy that it's farther out, because I think that gives us more time to get closer to the stadium in terms of like where we're living. So in that way, we're winners, and I think in that way, congratulations to all NYCFC fans.
Right.
Everybody that's been around from the start. This is obviously a massive win. Congratulations to Chris Campbell, who I think has been by far and away the leading reporter, news gatherer. Literally digging through. He was digging through stadium documents to the point this week where he found out that we're gonna have some kind of kit with in collaboration with the city and the mayor this season, and we don't know to what capacity yet it's gonna be. If it's gonna be a third kit, maybe a one-off game kit, or just a pregame. But the dude is literally in the trenches, out in Wisconsin or wherever he is now, finding these things online. So, obviously a massive win, and I think.
Well, if he is out in Wisconsin, I mean, there's really that explains why he's
got
time to dig. Outside of physically digging in your backyard.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I wish it was Minecraft. I wish we could just build a train from our backyard right to the stadium.
Yeah.
We'd be there every week. But yeah, I mean,
I think that's one thing we're gonna try. Definitely more so this season. I know last season was a big step up in terms of attendance for us. Maybe went to 6 or 7 games of how many home games do we play? 15. I mean, half of them when it's a city field 2 hours away. Can't be mad at that. We're going to try to keep that number the same or higher this year. So hoping to meet, more people in person, because we've only met a few. And then
just getting out there too, because our schedules, my schedule specifically, has become
normalized.
A lot more normalized. So, I'm back on human time.
And with the Apple TV, now the MLS schedule has become normalized.
Right.
So literally every single game will be a Saturday night. I think it's at 7, right? Or if they're away, which won't matter, it's the West Coast or whatever time zone equivalent. But big rip to those 1 p.m. August games when you pull up at Yankee Stadium and there's not a cloud in the sky and it's 90 degrees and you have your chicken bucket. I mean,
you pregame by playing soccer on the turf field above the parking garage.
Or when we went to Billy's that one time.
Yeah.
Ended up in a Heineken photo op.
Bumping shoulders with Ian Joy.
Yeah, Ian. It's just...
And his whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace those 1 p.m. vibes, I guess, because it's beautiful, and that's something, it's something special that all of us NYCFC fans prior to this, this new next 5 or 6 years, however long the Apple TV deal is, memories that we share on top of the cup, and it's it's not always about winning. It's nice, I guess, to have some of these things.
Yeah, definitely. And the only thing realistically I've heard about the stadium from the people who have been to that area of Queens is that they just hope that she said, I hope that they don't get rid of too many chop shops because that's the best place to go get your car fixed or something along those lines. So if that resonates with you, we're sorry, but also I'll take the stadium over any of that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Yeah, like I said, I realized when we were moving places that you want to be near the stuff, not to get too deep, on a MLS podcast, but you want to be near the stuff that makes you happy. And I was like, damn, now we know where the home of something that obviously means a lot to both of us is. So getting close to it is important, especially with like potentially having like training access at like the Etihad Academy and stuff. Is just like mental to think that during COVID we were like, dude, I can't keep these NYCFC thoughts just in my head anymore.
Right.
Do you want to like talk about them and just record them?
Right.
And then we were like, yeah, let's do that weekly or sooner than, more frequently than weekly if we need to get something off our chest.
We've done it. We've seen the highs and lows of the scheduling, but yeah, I mean it's
in season 4 for us.
It's crazy to be in season 4. I feel like we're in season 4 form.
Yeah.
In terms of, I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Ian Joy. I'll talk to Thiago. Anybody.
Yeah.
I think this is a year that I want to push for more.
For player interviews and stuff.
Player interviews. Yeah. Physically speaking up at the press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
Saying things with our chest.
As of right now,
and letting it swing,
and we can compare this to end of season, but as of now, we have one press conference question under our belt. One. So, replay this end of the 2023 season.
Right.
We're gonna have to do a counter, but hopefully it'll be too high that like at like 10 we were like, all right,
we're not talking.
We're not counting. Yeah. After 10, we're not counting anymore.
But getting more like not journalists, because I don't know if that's really what I want to identify as.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that means.
I don't even know if America knows what that means anymore. Not to get political, but yeah, no, we're waffling again. So definitely season 4 starting off with a bang with a bunch of waffling. But yeah, just thank you guys for watching. There's not any NYCFC content out there right now, so there's no reason you should have made it this far. But we're back.
Yep.
And we're just looking forward to make some content for you guys.
Ready for preseason kickoff tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah. So. Not exactly sure what the schedule will look like. Impromptu episode. But maybe on Twitter we can drop our predictions for the preseason, like who will be the highest goal scorer of the team.
Well, because it's like the Coachella thing, right?
Yeah, Coachella, yeah.
So, yeah, I've got Boys in Blue winning.
Oh, I was going to say Talas.
Scoring?
Yeah, he's probably our top scorer, I'd have to assume. I don't know who else could do it. GP. Yeah. Keaton likes a goal or two.
Knowing preseason Thiago, it's Thiago by
yeah.
$1 million.
Would you prefer preseason Thiago or playoff Santi?
It's playoff Santi.
Playoff Santi. Yeah. You gotta do it when it matters. Yeah.
Waffling.
That's it. That's episode 84. Crazy number. I can't imagine when we hit 100 what it's gonna be like.
It will be this season.
It will be this season. Yeah. And that'll do it. I mean, we'll keep an eye on preseason if big arrivals happen or departures. I mean, I don't know who else could leave at this point, but they've been breaking our heart with no notice for weeks. So, I don't know if we're back to weekly, but you will hear from us if big things happen. And that's it. I mean, I'm excited to start season 4.
Do you want to take not a water bet? What is it like?
I think it's a water bet.
It could be a water bet, yeah.
What is that? You like pour water on something?
I guess, yeah. But I was thinking more the other one where they dress up.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do like a money line bet where the loser has to dress up. Do you believe money line we will or will not sign another player before the season starts?
Yeah, I'll set the over. I would set the over under higher.
I'm just saying money line. Yes or no?
I would set it like at 1.5.
You think that there's going to be more potential for more than one signing?
At least 2. I think there has to be at least 2. Right? There has to be.
I'll be honest. If it was money line, yes or no, I'm taking no money line.
Not one more player?
I don't think so.
We have very different outlooks on how the season's going to go.
I don't think so.
Well, I would say 2. You would say... So I guess I'll take the yes option because one is basically 2 if you're a no.
Okay.
If you're a no, that's crazy. Yeah, we follow NYCFC Source on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the same boat as Hack with the hate thing, by the way. I'm not sure why, because I rock with him. I feel like he's broken a few player things, and I think probably only people listen at this point. We're not going to get in trouble with anybody. But like he's broken a few things, and yeah, I mean, I feel like he's pretty reliable, and he's mentioned that we have additional signings coming, like more than one. So Maybe your bet needs to be with NYCFC source because I'm just using him as my info that there will be more. And maybe now you want to edit your thing, but you're locked in, and we have it.
I am locked
in. We have
in.
it on camera.
And it's on camera, and that was episode 84.
Yeah.
Follow us on any device, platform that you get a podcast. We're there.
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on Twitter. Become our friend. Join our group chat. Join, the family. And get in. Dig your heels in. Join the family. And
when will we get an Italian on NYCFC? That's the next frontier for us.
We get
next frontier.
We had Pirlo.
Oh yeah, we did.
We had
the
Italian.
Yeah, we had the Italian. Damn.
Hey, how's another 5 minutes? See you guys in episode 84.
Peace.